So the relationship between Jesus and God is that Jesus claims to be God, the second person of the Trinity, God the Son. This is what he says in John chapter 10, verse 30. He says, I and the Father are one. And these claims right there, what we're talking about, this is why so many people wanted to kill him. C.S. Lewis, the apologist, he said it well. He said, if Jesus' claims to be God are not true, then he is the greatest megalomaniac ever. He would have to be, based on what he was saying. Lewis also wrote this, there is no halfway house and there is no parallel in other religions. If you had gone to Buddha and asked him, are you the son of Brahma? He would have said, my son, you are still in the veil of illusion. If you had gone to Socrates, Lewis says, and asks, are you Zeus? He would have laughed at you. If you had gone to Muhammad and asked, are you Allah? He would first have rent his clothes and then cut off your head. The idea of a great moral teacher saying what Christ said is out of the question. It's out of bounds. We can see from this scripture and that Jesus reveals God through his unique relationship with him and within the Trinity, that God is Father and he is Son, and the Spirit is introduced in the same chapter in verse 32. And John hasn't unpacked all that he wants to say about the Trinity yet in these first few verses. There's more to come, but I hope you'll notice John's picture of Jesus. It's not a caricature. It's the real thing. He paints this massive portrait of Jesus as the great creator God of the universe. And this picture from John chapter 1 is what has opened up the eyes and hearts of human beings for centuries and brought them into the saving knowledge of Jesus Christ. And I hope if you are not found in him through faith today, that's exactly what it's doing even now through his Spirit. You can read this section of Scripture 1,000 times and find that each time Jesus just gets a little bigger, a little bit bigger each time. It's like when Lucy came face to face with the lion Aslan in Lewis's famous book, children's book, The Chronicles of Narnia. And after not seeing him for a while, she finally comes into his presence again, and Aslan says to her, welcome, child. And Lucy replies, and she says, Aslan, you're bigger. And he says, that is because you are older, little one. She says, not because you are? He says, I am not. But every year you grow, you will find me bigger. This is the Christian life. Every year of God's grace, after another year of God's mercy, I hope you find Christ bigger and bigger and bigger. Because when you think about this past year, perhaps, you say, you know what? When I look over the span of this last year, he's brought me through. When I look over this last year, I see his grace. You can recognize what he's done for you. You can recognize how he fought for you. You can recognize how he stayed with you. You can recognize how he loved you, how he's forgiven you, how he's comforted you, how he's never abandoned you, how he continues to forgive you, how he is with you every moment of every day. And even though he doesn't say we're not going to go through hard things, he does promise us, and we can see it when we look backwards, that when we do go through it, he's right there with us. And so when we look back and we see what he's done and we see his mercy and we see his grace, what does it do? It reminds us just a little bit each year, a little bit each day, a little bit more each week that he is bigger than we ever comprehended. This picture of Jesus. If you want to know God, look to Jesus. It'll never get stale. It'll never get too small. It'll just ever expand.